Here you go, Alex. Look. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching and listening to a very special edition of Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales here in sunny Southern California. That gentleman out there is.
Rick Levy, also in sunny Southern California.
Yeah, we're not getting rained on or soggy or anything like that.
I'm drying out a little bit.
Yeah, we're just drying out a little bit for waiting for the next. They used to call it the Pineapple Express. Now it's El Nino.
Yeah.
Now it's what do they call it?
Atmospheric river is what they
Atmospheric
like to call it.
river. I remember Moon River, but atmospheric. How does that translate? Atmospheric river. I don't even think that Andy Williams couldn't. Never mind. That reference is going to be
Um,
lost on anybody who is not 40 years old or older. Okay.
Cry me an atmospheric river.
The atmospheric river. Atmospheric river. Speaking of atmosphere, I am really, really looking forward to this, Rick. You and I are going to complete the our lineup of Cierto Tequila that is self-proclaimed the most awarded tequila in the world. And if you've watched our Blanco review in 2023 and the Añejo review in 2023, I may as well let the cat out of the bag because by the time you folks see this, we will have announced our Brands of Promise winners and nominees. They both won in their separate categories. But go look at the website. It's up on the website. It also subscribe to our magazine as well. It's free right now. So you'll get all the winners, all the nominees. And for some reason, Rick, they only sent us those two originally. Um,
Yeah,
I don't know why we didn't get like a full case of these, but that's okay. That's all right. Sometimes we're lucky if we only get a Blanco. You know what I mean?
but we
Uh,
are obsessive completists, if nothing
yeah,
else.
yeah, yes, we are. Obsessive is a good word instead of like nerdy. As a no, we're obsessed. We're definitely we're very anal about this stuff. Okay, so I'm really looking forward to it. I just broke the seal off of mine. We
Mine
fell
as
all over
well.
ourselves. If you haven't seen those reviews, go check them out on our 2023 playlist. They are Blanco and the Añejo were spectacular. So I'm only expecting the same from these guys. So let's just pour it and then give you all the stats and stories as we go along in case you've never heard of this tequila or
All right.
you've been living under a rock somewhere.
I'm
Uh,
going to use my Stossel Jarrito.
I am too for tequila, the Tazo Jarrito, the official glassware of Tequila Aficionado.
And we're
And we
pouring the
also
Reposado.
We also do enjoy the Glencairn, which is both of those are made by the same company, by the way. Glencairn more so to their own specifications, but I'll go in. You know what? We have a
They both
rapport.
have fantastic geometry for.
Yes, yes. And historically speaking, the Jarrito is more in keeping um with what was considered historically accurate for agave spirits. Maybe not in glass, but in clay. Um, yeah, I get a pale gold color. What are you getting on in yours?
Yeah, that's what I've got. It's a bit more than straw. I think pale gold sounds good. You can see it
Yeah.
here on my camera.
Oh yeah. Oh, look at those legs and tears. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you folks can see it on my camera, but it is. Oh, look at that. Look at that string of pearls, man. That's a
Yeah.
thing of beauty. You know that? I know there are three elements we always look at, folks, because this is how we score the tequila. It's on the visual, the aroma, and then the flavor. But I think people don't take enough time to really look at how it behaves in the glass, swirling it, how it shines, what color it is. It's it's spectacular. Look at that. And the reason we look at the legs and tears, Rick, is because of the mouthfeel. It's a good indicator of what it's gonna
Right.
how it's gonna feel on your palate, what it's gonna do. Wow, look how thick those tears are. Wow.
Yeah, but not overly so.
No, but they're taking their sweet time to get to the rest of the
Yeah.
liquid.
Pretty luscious. Some luscious legs there.
Oh, hello. Hello, darling. I'm sorry. I'm just, we haven't even touched the juice yet. Although Rick he had to revisit the Blanco because it's been a while since he and I got together to do any of the reviews. It took Cierto this long to get the other two bottles to us. So
Yeah, we reviewed these, was it 6, 8 months ago?
something, yeah, and it's gotten several really great views, and it's a very much sought after tequila, but there's a lot of mystery revolving around it, and I'll explain some of that as we go along. But right now, what are you getting on the nose? Oh God. Oh, oh my God. Ah,
Yeah, so this is the Reposado.
right.
Last time we had the Blanco and the Añejo. So now we're jumping back to the Reposado.
Now I get like dried fruit, but I get like um I'm getting like apples and pears. It's
Yeah,
I'm getting apples and pears. So it's not necessarily dried fruit, ripe fruit maybe. And it's
right.
not stone fruit, at least on the top. I mean, it's going to evolve. That's what happened, with the añejo. It just kept changing
Well,
and
and we just
evolving.
opened it too. So it's just having its first reaction with the air, and that's going to keep developing.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why, again, sometimes when we overdo it on our reviews, when you're longer than 20 some odd minutes, we spend like a good amount of time just smelling it because it's it's gorgeous. It's like, wow, I mean that's part of it, you know. And I'm getting very little
What's the
alcohol.
proof on this?
It's an 80
40?
proof.
Yeah, 80,
Yeah.
40%.
I think they're all coming in at 80 proof. So it's not, a high proof. Although I wonder what this would be like at a barrel
Mm.
proof. Yikes. Oh, they'd have to shoot us. They have to pry it from our cold dead hands. That's like, oh my God.
Yeah, I think if I recall with the añejo, I got dried fruit.
Yeah,
Um,
and I would suspect that this is more of a fresher, like I said,
right.
green, green apples, green pears, stuff like that, and not even baked because that I would expect bake in a much older um expression, older aged.
Right. And the Blanco had just such a fresh aroma to it too.
And I remember I had just retasted it because the way we're recording this just after I had completed the Brands of Promise ballot, so it's in the middle of being published. And by the time you folks see this, it'll be out. And I retasted the Blanco because I hadn't had it since you and I did the review, and I remember how sharp and crisp and the depth of the character of the Blanco is carrying through on this Reposado. We just
Yeah.
don't detect it, but it's there because that Blanco reminded me a lot of the original old Casa Noble Blancos that had so much
Right.
depth. Remember, they had so much depth in it because they were older plants.
Yeah.
They absorbed the character of the terroir, and when we tell you where this tequila comes from and who's making it, you're going to understand why. Shall we dive in?
Let's go.
Here you go. Mm, mm,
I'm out of practice, man.
mm. Do I have to put you back in the rotation, young man?
Oh, time
Oh,
for me to retire.
that was my first pass. And to be fair, I I always cleanse my palate. I use vodka. I tell that to all my students, to everybody that I talk to. Neutral grain spirits is what you need to cleanse your palate. And usually I don't make a determination on the first pass, but that first pass was amazing.
Yeah. I was trying to get the retro nasal like you do, and I still haven't perfected that kind of I don't have the kind of control you have, Mike.
Yeah, well, that's because I have a microphone and you don't. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. actually, Rick and I, we've talked about this on some of our earlier reviews. Rick and I both come from the radio background. So, he this guy was you were a DJ in college, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I didn't get to DJ until I was well into my 40s, and I loved it. Oh man, and um in fact, Alex Perez, our founder, was your first original tequila podcaster before it ever became a thing. I told you this story and I'll tell it again, but our first podcast was at El Cholo in the old Pasadena location. He pulls out this console that, remember the old consoles on the radio stations, and a couple of really
What
good.
do you have, like the big pots?
Yeah, yeah, and it's like, where'd you pull that from? He had it like next to him on the table we were sitting at. He puts it on the table, so there's no room for like our dishes, our glassware, our tequila,
And
and then we're ordering food, right? So like we're
it
trying to
takes up
eat
the
all.
whole damn thing.
Yeah, yeah. And then he puts two microphones, and I said, "You don't want to put a mic in front of me because I'm from radio. I won't shut up." And our first podcast was 2 hours, and I haven't shut up ever since. So here we are. But now
Yeah.
now we've come full circle. Now we got mics again.
Mike was
So
the inspiration for Venus Flytrap on WKRP. The
you know what?
late night
Most
smooth talking DJ.
most people don't know that. I remember FM. I remember when FM radio was a thing, where you'd have some guy with a Scottish accent, a brogue. You had some guy from Europe, but he's in LA, and he says, I can't even do an Irish, Scottish brogue, but and that was in Agata de Vida, all 35 minutes of it, and that would be the FM voice, right? And then all of a sudden you go in Agata de Vida, it's like, wow, man. But that was FM, you know, that was in AM, they had guys who would enunciate from their diaphragm. We used to call them pukers. Those are the guys that go Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. They yell at you. I'm sorry, I digress, folks. What are we getting for the juice? I okay. I only had one pass. Rick, you've had a couple passes. You tell me.
Yeah, the benefit of Mike talking.
The benefit of me
Uh,
talking is that Rick is dissecting while he's not even listening to this story because
it's just like, keep going, Mike. I'm enjoying myself.
yeah, I know, because he's heard it before, right? And some of you may have heard it before if you've been following us for all this time. This is our 25th anniversary, Rick. July,
Wow.
25 years, man. We have talking tequila, and now all the agave spirits, everything, mezcals and raicillas and bacanoras and now destilados, which is stuff that's like, it doesn't fit any denomination of origin. It's just an agave spirit. And we're getting them from other countries now, which is amazing. It's a beautiful thing, this plant. And I can't say enough about the family, the people behind this brand. Wow. You
So
tell
there's
so
there's
tell
some
me.
great stuff. There's just some great stuff going on here from the barrel. There's it's French limousine oak, and so we're getting some different notes than we would get with
That's as opposed to like New York limousine or LA limousine.
I
I don't know what that means, but it sounds really cool. And it's
don't know.
limousine with an N. It's not limousine with an E at the end, like a limousine car. Like limousine car is spelled with an E at the end, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think so. Anyway, it's limousine. I mean, that's
limousine.
limousine. So go
But
ahead.
it imparts different the wood imparts different characteristics than you get with American oak that's been used for bourbon or whiskey. And so, we're getting some of those richer notes. Maybe a hint of tobacco, but something that I noticed right away was like a butterscotch. It was a little bit creamy from the wood.
Yeah, and it goes in really sweet, sweeter than I would have thought, because whiskey and sometimes bourbon will go in that sweet, and then as it goes across your palate, it begins to coat the palate the way it's supposed to, because that's what French oak does. It's just gonna. But I still get a dry finish. It's a
Right.
it's
Yeah.
a
It's like has this nice, buttery sweetness on the front of the palate, but then as you go towards the back, it's dry. Not a lot of pepper.
No,
Um,
I was going to say it. I'm not getting like cinnamony or even like green pepper. And now you had a little bit of the Blanco off camera. Did you get any pepper on the palate? I don't recall us getting that. I remember how much depth it had, but I don't recall us getting like, like a white pepper, green pepper, stuff like that.
yeah, I honestly I don't recall.
Yeah, okay. Oh, now it's opening up even more. Now you're right. It's creamy. It's like a I don't even want to call it I could call it a butterscotch, but even butterscotch might be a little too hard. I think it's lighter than that.
Ah,
Maybe like a deep honeysuckle. Does that make sense? Mm.
yeah, yeah, it is probably more buttery than butterscotch.
How about a toffee? Would toffee work?
I don't know. I think of toffee differently.
Okay.
Um, Maybe caramel.
Okay. Could be. Could be. But caramel, not even a super sweet caramel. It's almost like
Right.
um I want to say it's kind of like I don't know if anybody's here watching us has had piloncillo, which is Mexican brown sugar. And I think, when you saute, when you do like a flan and you use a piloncillo, it's supposed to melt. I think this is what we're getting. We're getting a creaminess that like a cream soda, not a root beer.
Mm,
Okay, that's what I'm getting. I'm getting like a cream
yeah,
soda, sarsaparilla, something like that.
right.
It's got more roots in it, you know.
Exactly.
Um, I think that's what this is. It's kind of it's more rooted in like it's a weird herbal thing going on. And for those of you who've
Hmm.
ever had, a good mixer like a ginger beer. In fact, you might even say like how if you love ginger beer, this would be like cream soda. You know how the natural stuff versus the commercial stuff always tastes different. That's what this is.
Yeah. Imagine making a Mexican mule with this.
Oh man, I was gonna say what would you cocktail this with? Because I know now personally I do cigars. I think this has got enough depth to stand up to a cigar, but nothing
Right.
heavy. Not maybe a Connecticut wrapper. If you went more bolder than that, you'd have a problem. I
And on
think.
multiple passes, I'm developing like a cinnamon effect, kind of building up on the sides of the palate. And yeah, I think, it can hold up to a cigar, I would think.
You know what? I'm still getting that pear. I'm still getting pear and apple. And the last time I had pears and apples like this, old school Chinaco, when Germán Gonzalez was still at the old family distillery, I remember I was vacuuming and I had a bottle of that. I in those days, wasn't hoarding anything, so I had a bottle and I was, I had a snifter out, and I swear to God, I could smell pears coming out of my snifter. And it's like that's the last time I'd actually had that aroma and that flavor profile until now. And not even T1 had that. Tears might. Tears is a little bit denser. But I'm getting pears and apples. That's delightful. That's gotta be the barrel. And you know what? The agave they start with.
Right. I was wondering if it would be more the agave or the barrel, because what I've gotten the feeling before where I'm dealing with agaves from either, a Totonilco or higher regions where, they're just they grow larger and they build up more of a starch mass in the pina. And I get, like this, not like a cooked apple, but more like a fresh apple,
Yeah,
where like an
yeah.
apple has a very, very starchy meat to it.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Uh, I totally agree. I think that's, well, you know what? Since we've, first of all, let me just go out on a limb. All right. Because like I'm going to go out on a big limb here, but I'm sorry. Brand of Promise nominee
oh,
in this Reposado category. Hands down. Um, let's give the ins and outs. Um, let's see, let me give you the distillery. And yes, this has, I think I mentioned in the original first two reviews is that I've been chasing this brand for at least a couple of years. No one's ever seen the bottle. All right. They kept winning awards and submitting them. And I was a judge at one particular uh during 2020. 1146 is the distillery. And that is Tequilenia.
tequilena,
It's Tequilenia, boys and girls. Tequilenia,
Enrique Fonseca.
uh, probably probably one of two of the largest distilleries with the largest barrel rooms ever. And this is just I'm hoping to interview one of the founders of Cierto, whom I met in Beverly Hills. Unbeknownst to me, this was the guy I was meeting till he brought a bottle with him, and I was like, I got a
Mike
bone to
was in
pick with.
Beverly Hills looking for some property and ran
Yeah,
into
yeah,
someone.
I was just wandering around. I wandered it. No, we got invited to this very, very upscale restaurant, which they all are, right in Beverly Hills. Even the even the taco trucks are really upscale, you know. But anyway, and I met him. His name was Jason Castellucci, and we hit it off. And I said, "But I got a bone to pick with you. How come we couldn't see the bottle for almost 2 years?" And he had a great story about that. I guess they had a problem, um, getting deciding on what they wanted to do with the bottle, and was all that by design? Because they're if you look at their Instagram, it's all dark. All it is here's our next award. Here's our next award. Here's our next award. And it was crazy. It's like there were people who were like me who were frustrated, going, "Where the hell is the bottle? Where can I get it? Can I buy it?" Right?
I
And
guess they were waiting for a bottle that was sufficiently statuesque.
well, I used to sell lighting. I used to sell like Stiffle lamps. You know, a Stiffle lamps is a bronze. You know, I used to sell, and they're expensive. I used to sell them. I love selling lighting, and this looks like a lamp. You put a shade on
Yeah.
here and a pull chain, and it would serve you tequila. I mean, it's beautiful. So, yeah, it's called Private Collection Reposado. It is coming from the Fonseca Distillery, 1146. And let me give you some of the notes that they gave us. They sent us some really beautiful POS, point of sale material. They sent a brochure. They sent us a nice little, a personalized a card with our names on them and stuff like that. We didn't get the foam suitcase with the entire collection because,
Mike's a little bit bitter about that.
well, I am. Because you sent one to a guy who brews beer. Beer, ladies and gentlemen. He brews beer. He hasn't even been doing this for 25 years. But anyway, um, unbeknownst to me, until I started looking through the POS material, they quote Tequila Aficionado. They said, see that, Rick? It says, Cierto blows the doors off. I'm reading this backwards. Off
I
every
got it right
pure
here too.
tequila. See that? That's just that's cool. And it was nice that the current CEO made this happen for us, and I believe the PR company, Jason, I'm sure had a hand in that as well. Because I told him, I said, we've only done two of your expressions. We want to do the rest of the line. We can't, you know. So here we are
Mike's
doing
going to tell stories while I enjoy the
I'm
juice.
gonna tell a story. Look at all the medals that these guys have won. Check that out. Can you see that? There's got to be, what is there? And of course, there's not what the medals look like. That's their version of the seals because they've won from so many different contests. And like I say, I was
A graphic designer would never print all those different metals. They would demand some sort of, visual
uniformity,
unification and uniformity.
uniformity, right? Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it'd just be noise. Yeah.
it'd be noisy. Yeah, but it'd be
So,
colorful.
Mike, what about the juice?
Yeah, I know. What about the juice? Well,
The juice is good.
the
Huh?
juice is well, let me tell yeah. The añejo, so we're working kind of like in between. It's odd for us to go back and forth, but we're doing that. It's called a refined amber reposado. It's now they're calling it butterscotch, cinnamon, and caramel. I don't think so. I would go with the green apple. I think you and I put a couple of other descriptors on there. I think
Yeah.
that's too simple.
Well, I wouldn't fault the butterscotch, but I like what you were saying about the sort of, cream soda or, like a lighter kind of vanilla butter sort of thing going on.
Yeah, and that lends to the creaminess of the mouthfeel too, I think.
Mm,
It's aged 11 months,
it's
French
got a
Mendocino.
fantastic texture to it.
Yeah, it's it's won 112 plus awards to date. Okay, I'll buy that. They've entered in Europe, they've entered in Vegas, they've entered in LA, San Francisco. Um, the only ones that I worry that I would pay attention to for me is uh the UTI, I think is what it's called. It's anyway, it's or BTI, I'm sorry. UTI is something else.
Beverage Tasting Institute.
Yes, the Beverage Tasting Institute. They're extremely reliable. And of course, San Francisco World Spirits is one of the oldest.
Right.
And I think they can add Tequila Aficionado Media to that for our Brands of Promise Awards because I'm in love, man. I it first of all, what's our price point? Because it's not cheap. All of these are going to go for probably $100 or more. And you know what? It's right now I can tell you it's worth every penny.
It's fantastic.
I'm sure Old Town Tequila has it. Any of your larger purveyors have it.
Yeah. So Old Town has the Reposado for 120.
You know, that's not bad. That's not bad. It is worth every penny, and they know it. They
Yeah.
for the añejo, I had to literally give it a separate category because it's just not fair. I was telling Rick off camera, it's not fair for it to compete with reposados that are aged in bourbon barrels or whiskey barrels. You know, let those guys fight it out between themselves and let somebody else who has, distinguished themselves from the rest of the pack and give them their own award. And that's to me, that's how it should be done. I Our contest is run differently anyway. We have a different scoring thing, but other than that, I got
Yeah.
nothing, man. I'm all talked out. I think we just gave this one a a hell of a review, and that's your second pour. So you tell me, what are you getting
Yeah.
anything else now that it's opening up a little bit? Because
I'm just really enjoying the
huh,
the butteriness on the front of the palate and the creaminess of the mouthfeel. There's this a little bit of a pepper or cinnamon, or I don't know what you call it, baking spice effect or something happening on the
okay.
sides of my palate. Um, it's uh, it's warm on the finish,
Hmm.
not hot, not super peppery on the finish, but just eminently enjoyable.
Yeah, I say it, and I think it's very versatile too. As Rick said, it would be great in a cocktail. Um, and I say it'd be great with a cigar. Really, I really would. Just don't go too bold. And honestly, I'm surprised.
At this price point, I would probably say pair it with a really nice cigar rather than bar mixers.
Yeah, but you could probably make a great Latin Manhattan with this if you use
Yeah,
upscale your ingredients, right? And
right.
and then really treat yourself.
Yeah.
Um,
And with a light touch so that you're really letting the spirit shine.
yeah.
You're not you're not painting a picture with the spirit, you're framing it because it's already the picture.
Wow, look at you. Damn, I'm done. That was it. You know what, folks? That's it. That's our take on tequila, on Cierto Tequila Reposado. If you've had it, please let us know. Leave us a comment down below. Give us a like. Hit the notification bell. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe. Check out
We
our
like
website.
you. We really, really like
We
you.
really like you. This is like the Academy Award. This is like the Oscar of tequilas, right? Here, we're right before Oscar season, because by the time you see this, who knows, what the Oscars will be like. This is the Oppenheimer of tequilas or something, right? Or the Barbie. Maybe it's the Barbie of tequila. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't see either
Um,
movie yet.
Barbenheimer.
Barbenheimer. It's the Barbenheimer of
I just
tequilas.
watched, I finally got around to watching Oppenheimer.
Oh, really? Was it a blast?
Yeah. Uh,
Oh, you just caught that? Wow.
bum, bum.
Boom.
That's all, folks.
That's it. That's all, folks. I should have just cut myself off at Rick's thing. It was so beautiful. But now I really messed it up, didn't I? Okay. Well, that's our
I
take on
know.
Cierto
We got a
Tequila.
million of them, folks.
Yeah. And, stick with us, because we got the extra añejo coming up. And if you think this is going to blow your mind, I don't know what the other one's going to do for me. I'm scared. I'm truly scared. But that's our take.
It's
If you've had
the
it, let us
hydrogen
know.
bomb
Leave us a
tequila.
comment. I'm Mike Morales here in sunny Southern California, in the San Gabriel Valley of Southern California. That young man out there is.
Rick Levy, also in Southern California.
You've been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, give us a like, and whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.
Oh my God. Wow.